Hey everyone! So I hope everyone can see me and hear me and all of that jazz. So this is actually my first YouTube live, so if you're joining, thank you so much. I'm not sure why YouTube live is kind of weird for me, but I thought hitting 10,000 subscribers would be a great way to celebrate it and interact with you guys, and so I'm just really excited to be here. A couple things to note, and I will repeat this a couple times in case people join. I'm going to talk about the subject, which is just this reselling YouTube channel, and I'm just going to kind of go through my notes, and I'm not going to pay attention to the chat, even though it's right in front of my face at the moment, so that I can just get through this stuff in case someone watches after the fact. But don't worry if you ask a question. I do have a friend who is going to be sending me questions so that I can catch up to them later. So probably the first 10 to 15 minutes will be me talking about the subject, and then I'm going to move into the chat and talking to you guys who are here. So with that, if you haven't already subscribed and you want to, there's a subscribe button below, and if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. It really means a lot to me. So I decided to talk about something that I hear a lot of resellers talk about, which is YouTube and creating a YouTube channel. And I think many of us watch people on YouTube and we think, should we start a YouTube channel? Will it be beneficial? Will it be worth the time? Will people even watch? I still ask myself this all the time as we speak. So I think it depends on the person, but I have some notes here. I just thought I'd review the notes. And yeah, hopefully it's helpful in case you're wondering if you should start one, or if you've started one and you are just trying to figure out how to grow that channel. So first things first is 5 things I considered before starting my YouTube channel. One being a business plan. So it sounds kind of scary or daunting if you hear it and you're like, I've never done one, but it's actually pretty easy going. So all it is you can actually search for templates online if you just search template business plan and get some ideas there. But for me, it's just really taking down notes and just having a plan in place from a business perspective. So when I started my YouTube channel, the goal was maybe, just maybe, I can help other people by sharing my experience and my journey like others had done for me when I was a new reseller. So business plan just kind of helped me keep in track. The other thing is building a brand. So by saying building a brand, when I first started on Instagram, for example, I didn't really know if this was going to be a thing, if I was going to like it, if this was going to grow into something. But I still thought, well, I see all these people with fun names on Instagram. Maybe I should think of one. Now, your brand can be just your name, just yourself. But for me, I wanted to think of something that I felt like I could grow into. And so I didn't use anything Poshmark specific. And I really tried to avoid just reselling specific because I just didn't know where I was going to go. But I don't even know how I came up with COMMONTAGS, but I came up with COMMONTAGS for Instagram purposes. And then I obviously transitioned that over to YouTube. So just building a brand for me is having certain things. Like I'll shout out to Rally Roots. They have the little intro in their videos where they kind of punch. That's part of their brand. If you take the bin pickers, they have their little intro that's part of their brand. So it was something important for me to just consider a name, and also just things like my background and things like that. Now, for me, what I do doesn't mean it's the right way or the way to do it. It's just what I've chosen to do. And I think everyone has that right to kind of figure out what works for them and what they want. Trial and error. So I really wanted to just come up with a list before I started my YouTube channel of content. So I would go to other resellers and I would find videos that I like to watch and videos that maybe I didn't really like to watch. And I wanted to make a list of things that if I enjoyed watching them, then I would probably enjoy making the content myself. But on the fourth note, having a mix of original content and also unique content. Original content, which is unique, and also kind of just expected content. So for example, hauls. I don't know who came up with hauls, who the first person was. I would give them credit. I always love to give credit where credit is due when I get an idea or I'm, learning something from someone else. But I knew that people would expect hauls from me as a reseller. So that wasn't really a question on my channel. But I did try to think up some things that might be fun to try out and see how people respond. And if they worked, keep doing them. And if they didn't work, you know, just all of that stuff. Also, it looks like we've got 69 people on live, which is just crazy to me. If you didn't catch me at the beginning, I'm just reviewing my notes first. I'm going to catch up on the chat and questions a little bit later. Just want to interject that every once in a while. The fifth thing I tried to consider when I was creating my YouTube channel was the balance between reselling and YouTube. So for me, reselling is where I see my business going, and YouTube is just kind of this little side thing that I saw as potential revenue just from ad revenue and potential partnerships. So I just tried to figure out, okay, how much time do I want to spend on this? So, and I've just tried to stay true to all 5 of those things while I've grown my channel. A question I get a lot is, what equipment do I use? So I thought I would show you guys. This is actually my old phone, and this is an iPhone SE. I use natural lighting, which is why it's a little weird lighting right now because I don't normally film right now, but I use natural lighting. I do have lighting for photos up in my loft, but it's a little clunky to bring it down. And I just kind of schedule my day that, hey, between 9 and 1, I'm gonna film some videos, and hopefully that is kind of good, decent lighting. I used an old phone up until about a month ago. The SE is equivalent to iPhone S. And about a month ago, one of my family members got a buy one, get one free. And so I was able to get an iPhone X. And you can, I don't know. I mean, if you watch my older videos, it may not be the best quality. I think technically I started on my computer, which is a really old iMac, and the quality wasn't great, but I started somewhere. And I don't think equipment is really that important to start a YouTube channel. At least it wasn't for me, from what I learned. And then the one question I get a lot is, what editing software do I use? And I will say, if you watched any of my videos, I don't edit a lot. I'm not comfortable with it. YouTube is not easy for me. So I do have iMovie. I got it on my older iMac. I had to like buy a CD on Amazon that would be compatible with my older iMac or MacBook. And it was very clunky in the beginning. However, with the new phone, I now have iMovie on the new phone. And if I need to do any just simple edits, I can do it there, which really helps. So one thing I think a lot of people are worried about if they're gonna start a YouTube channel or have started a YouTube channel. Also, shout out, I have 3 known reseller friends in the chat, and I reached out to all of them before this. And I said, hey, do you mind jumping on at this time and telling me, or basically answering questions on my behalf in the beginning and just helping moderate the comments since I would be focused on the notes. I just wanted to give them a shout out. Amber Resells, I've done a couple collabs with her. She's great. I think a lot of you guys subscribe to her. Lori Tata. Lori, I feel like I always say your name wrong, but I think it's Tata, not Tata, but T-A-T-A. And she's just great. She just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm just so excited because she's just one of my favorites. And then someone I recently met at eBay Open, and then again a week ago at the bins, Sell Quick, Ship Quick. They are just the best. If you went to eBay Open, you probably know them. They're paving the way of just fun in the reselling world. But they're great. They live in Los Angeles, and so I'm glad that maybe I'll be able to meet up with them every once in a while. So thank you to all 3 of you for jumping on and helping me with the comments. So jumping into the next part, what's the hardest thing, or what was the hardest thing about starting a YouTube channel for me? So hands down, the first thing was I didn't think it was funny enough. And there's a backstory to this. So I had an ex-boyfriend, and he's a good guy. So we don't have to hate on him, but we were kind of serious. We lived together, and this was a long time ago. And he at one point told me that he usually dated girls that were funny, and I wasn't funny. And ever since then, that was probably like 12 years ago, ever since then, I've just always been very, I'm just not funny. And when I watch people on YouTube, there's enjoyment out of kind of the humor and just their personalities and stuff like that. And that was one of the hardest things for me to overcome was I'm not a comedian. I'm never gonna be a comedian. And so it's odd sharing that here, but why not? It's alive. So I think the concept here is you can be you. And for me, it was really important to just be myself. And if I make a mistake, I'll leave it in most of the time. And hopefully people will just want to watch me for me. And yeah. The other hard thing about joining YouTube for me was learning a new platform. I have never started a YouTube channel. I didn't start one for any of my previous companies that I worked for. So just the platform itself was new to me and hard, just because it was taking time away from reselling. So that was kind of difficult. Not getting paid for the work and the time spent up front. So yeah, I mean, you could get monetized very quickly or maybe never. For me, it was important to give it a shot. I did have an exit plan that was really important with my business plan. When am I going to bail on YouTube if people aren't watching? And it's nothing personal, and I tried not to take it personal. I really think that there's a number of factors that can go into it. If people are learning something from you, if people like your personality, there's just a number of things that people may or may not watch your videos. And so for me, it was kind of that, if I'm not monetized within 3 to 6 months, this might not be the best part of my business plan, just in general for COMMONTAGS. So I did try to consider that, but it is hard in the beginning to do the work and not get paid for it. And also, I didn't note this, but as far as payments, there's videos on AdSense and sponsorships and how you can get paid with YouTube. Reselling is a very niche market, and so the payout that you get from ads running on your channel is a little bit higher than, let's say, a vlogging channel. And I don't know my exact number, but it is actually a very niche market, and there are companies that really want to be in our market and advertise to people watching. So the AdSense actually can be very helpful if your channel grows. And then the last thing that was hard was, I'm sure everyone thinks this, the trolls. I mean, it's not easy at first, you know. I'm sure there might be even someone in here, and that's okay. But you get really thick skin doing this. And I remember my first thumbs down, and it was awful. Like, oh my gosh, someone doesn't like me. When in reality, I think actually people sometimes use the thumbs down as just like, hey, I didn't like this video, or hey, I didn't like this content, or they use it in a lot of different ways. Now, negative comments, those people, it doesn't faze me. I do moderate my comments. I just don't really pay attention to it. I have no issue with removing comments or hiding users if I feel that they're attacking me as an individual or attacking someone I know, which has happened in both cases. If someone's criticizing me or something I say, I leave that up because I think it's healthy to have criticism because I think it has that dialogue. But yeah, the trolls, they come and go and everyone has it, and I'm now not worried about it. But in the beginning, it was definitely scary. So again, I'll repeat this since some more people have joined. I'm just going through my notes really quick. I will respond to questions soon, and I do appreciate everyone being here. It means a lot. So my ongoing strategy with YouTube after I kind of got over the hurdle of just starting, number one is staying positive. And for me, staying positive is a choice. I know when I used to go, before I started the channel, and I would look at popular videos with lots of views from other resellers, some of them had a negative tone on the title. And I get it. We all kind of like the drama and stuff like that. But for me, it's not, it wouldn't make me happy. It wouldn't make me happy to just worry about the clicks or the views to make content that I wasn't happy with. So I do try to stay positive, and I think it's turned out okay, and I'll stick to that for yeah, probably forever. I do try to learn and improve. So two YouTube channels that I have that I watch pretty often that you may not know about if you're wanting to become a creator on YouTube for reselling or otherwise. One is called Video Influencers, and I'll link them down below after this is live. And then one is called Video Creators, and both are channels that help people create YouTube channels. Now, I don't agree with everything that they say, and everything that they say isn't going to work for everyone. However, I do think that they have a lot of good tips and tricks, especially if you're new or if you're not new and you just want to maybe try some new things and embrace it. So again, check out those two channels if you're interested. But I constantly try to learn and improve. And the best way to learn for me is to watch my own playback. So like right now I can see a screen and the lighting is all sorts of whack. So I wouldn't normally film at this time, but I wanted you guys to join. But I do think that watching yourself and critiquing yourself is going to be far more productive than any troll comment out there. So I constantly watch my videos. I don't watch older videos because that's just embarrassing. But I do try to just critique myself and improve. I also really try to focus on making content I want to watch. So I get a lot of requests for videos that I'm not really that interested in watching, so it's very hard for me to make content for. Or I get requests for videos that I would like to make, but maybe I just can't make at the moment. For example, I get a lot of requests for my storage or how I do inventory. And I'm in the middle of, I bought a shed a month and a half ago, and I'm trying to transition my inventory out there. So once that's done, I will make a video and I will share. I'm very transparent. I try to be, but it's not the time yet for that type of video. And then also something I really aim for is I try to be educational and not entertaining. So educational, not saying what other people should do. I try to avoid using titles that say how to make more money on Poshmark, or 5 easy things to do to increase your Poshmark sales, or anything like that. Because I don't know if what I do is going to work for everyone, and I wouldn't want to feel bad if it didn't work for someone else. So what I try to do is create content that is educational by sharing my own journey. Although I hope people are entertained at times by my mistakes and the wishy-washy aspects at times, I do try to share, be helpful and be educational in some way. And also, one myth about YouTubers in the reselling community is that we share everything. We don't. At least I don't. And I think some of my reselling friends don't, that are on YouTube. So I think it's okay to go on and share what you think is appropriate to share. But for example, if I buy something like retail arbitrage, I might not go on and share it. Now, I don't do that very often, but that's an example of maybe a time I wouldn't share. But there are people that do on Instagram, and there's nothing against that. I also don't share anything that might be controversial, just because I do like to keep the positivity here, and I don't really want to offend people. And yeah, so I am transparent. I share as much as I think is helpful and positive, and hopefully it is. But I don't share everything, and that's okay. Maybe someday I'll share those things as I learn and grow. And the last thing, this is by absolute personal choice, but I try to be presentable. Now, I'm not sure if the lighting or my t-shirt is the most presentable, but I think of YouTube as being interviewed every single video. And what I mean by that is there are new people that are gonna find you and discover you on every single video. So I'm not gonna repeat everything I've ever said on every video. However, I am going to try and put a little effort, again, personal choice, into how I look, because I feel like people they're going to judge, and that's okay. And part of judging is just, did they roll out of bed, or are they ready to share content? And yeah, so that's just my ongoing strategy that I constantly think of. And the last thing before I jump into questions, and I see everything going, and I really appreciate everyone here. It means so much to me. Does YouTube help my sales? Is it worth it in a financial aspect and in a time aspect? In the beginning, no, it's certainly not. It's a lot of work being consistent. I really tried, and I have been consistent about putting 2 videos in the beginning, and now I'm averaging about 3 videos a week. I think I skipped 1 week, and that was when I had a nightmare with my house, but you can check that out on my second channel, which is linked below. But I really have I have tried to be consistent. I try to film videos in advance. I do film videos 2 to 3 at a time, and so that I can keep putting out content and potentially getting more subscribers. So it is worth it for me now as far as the time breakdown of what I spend. I do try to reply to all comments or questions, and I do try to acknowledge all comments. It is getting hard, but I set aside time every 2 to 3 days to just go through and look at my YouTube comments and try to be helpful. Hopefully, if you've ever asked me anything, I've replied as far as a question. So, and then the other thing to keep in mind is I went on YouTube after I was doing pretty decent on Poshmark. Now, mind you, I added eBay and YouTube after I went full time, and I had that planned, but although I do see an increase in sales, I don't do direct sales. So it's very hard for me to measure the success of sales or finances from these YouTube videos. So some people do direct sales. I tried it for like 2 sales, and then I was like, oh no, now I have to manage the email system, and it was just one too many things for me. So if anyone's interested in something, they can leave me a comment, and I will go and make sure that's posted if it's not already listed. And but yeah, I think it can. I do get love notes like, oh, I love your videos, or someone sends me a comment before I ship it out, and it just means the world to me that anyone is even watching this. So thank you guys, if I haven't said that enough. So I do have a friend that just saved some comments from earlier on in the chat, and yeah, it looks like we've got 123 people watching, which is just crazy. So I guess there was a question from Brock, and the question was, do I have any silk shirts? Yeah, I have some silk shirts in my closet, Poshmark and eBay. Everything's pretty much cross-listed, but yeah, I like picking up all different types of things. Kim Wood, you asked, do you think that the reseller market is saturated? That's a good question. I think there's a lot of people that try it and drop off. So I think at any given time, there are new people. It may feel overwhelming, but I think a lot of people find out that it is much harder than they anticipated, or they just don't like it anymore. And so I think that there's a lot, like for me, for example, I never bought anything on eBay until I started selling on eBay, and now I almost buy everything on eBay. So my paper towels, which I don't buy that many anymore, but I mean, anything. I try to support the platform. So I'm buying a lot more even though I'm selling. I don't know if other people are like that, but yeah, and I think it's a good thing, because if people find the benefit of reselling, they probably will purchase more resold, if that makes sense. All right, so there's some other YouTubers here that I just have to shout out that I have shouted out before, but I'm going to do it now. Lotta Josh, he has a YouTube channel. He just moved. He just got out of the army, and thank you so much for your service and for your content on your YouTube channel. Definitely just enjoying all of that and learning with you. Tam's Place. I can't say enough good things about Tam. She was one of the first people I watched, and her laugh is contagious. She is trying lots of new things, and I just really appreciate it. Mick Thrift Z is one of my newest favorites, and I followed her on Instagram and started watching her YouTube channel, and she just has the best hauls, and just thank you all for being here. Nestine Haven, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot. I'm not going to get everyone, but just a few shout outs. And then Lauren, Coal City Loot. I met you at eBay Open, and you were just as nice and fun in person as you are online. So everyone, you guys are just awesome. So Floppy Bob, thank you for your past comments, because I recognize your name. You like that I say yeah. So that's the funny thing about YouTube. So this goes back to the YouTube content. There's a lot of criticism that comes your way, and criticism about things that you didn't even know you were insecure about. I didn't know I said yeah a lot until I started making YouTube videos, and then I watched myself and I was like, ooh, I say it a lot. Probably said it 5 million times already. So it is hard to get that criticism, but at some times or some points it can be helpful and just make you aware of things. And although certain things are hard, I'm glad that you like that I say the word yeah, but I try to work on that as much as possible. Winged Horse Garage. Does Hugo Boss still sell? I've sold Hugo Boss. I don't pick it up or find it all that much, but I have sold it before, and I'm not sure how to compare it to really anything else, but it is a brand that I'm not afraid to pick up, especially at the bins. Sell Quick, Ship Quick. You left a comment that said, the videos stay out there forever. Yes, so these videos, even if they're live, which you can see my lighting, I'm just gonna keep going until the lighting's down or I don't have any more questions. These lives, although I want to be engaged with everyone, they do stay on the channel forever, or until you delete them, which I won't. But it's hard because I've always been someone who's watched lives after the fact, and I always felt like I missed out on things. So they do stay out there a long time. Stephanie Jennings, what shampoo do you use? Not reselling related whatsoever. I got this question actually. You get a lot of interesting questions in YouTube comments. I think I use like a Suave or something. I almost use no hair products. I can thank my mother for my hair, yeah, I'm pretty lazy with my hair, which I'm thankful for. Mick Thriftsy, you asked a question. How much time would you say you put into each video prep beforehand? So one of the things I chose to do with my channel is I tried to be different in hauls by providing comps. So one of the things, and I've referenced this before, I would see someone pick up a brand and get excited about a brand, and then I would go and pay full price for it, and then I felt like I got burned because I didn't know the value of it. They were just excited more for style, not for comp purposes. So I think that it depends on the video, but I do spend quite a bit of time preparing. So even just for a basic haul, I have a spreadsheet, I put everything in, I put all the range and comps, and then I organize things so I can kind of grab them in order of the spreadsheet. And then anything that's more analytical, like numbers based, I do my research, I try to, and I hope it's helpful for other people, but it is time consuming. And I think there are definitely easier videos than others. I've gotten a little bit used to the routine, but I would say each basic video, the filming might be 1 or 2 times, the uploading might fail 1 or 2 times, which is just painful. And the prep beforehand, I would say, I'm gonna do a lot of the prep just to stay organized, but I would say it ranges from like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the video. So, but I'm trying to be thoughtful. So, Stephanie Jennings, you like when I say I thought it was cute. Yeah, I've gotten people who don't like it. And that's the thing. I can't please everyone on YouTube. And that's something to keep in mind if you want to start a YouTube channel. Going back to being yourself, still giving yourself criticism and trying to make improvements is really important. But also, you're not going to make everyone happy, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. Not everyone has to watch, and I do appreciate anyone that does watch, so it means a lot. Floppy Bob, is it easy to cross-list on eBay? I find I pick up more things at the bins if I list it on eBay. The shipping confuses me. So I have an eBay video that I did from a Poshmark seller who wants to start selling on eBay, and I just kind of share my experience there. Shipping was definitely, it scared me, but I just stuck to what I knew, which was priority mail, and it worked in the beginning, and now I do more customized shipping, but it at least got me started. The cross-listing is pretty easy. I think it took some time to figure out the platform. It's definitely a more complex platform, but I actually prefer it because you can kind of build things that you want. So it was hard to start. Lori, do you have an ideal number of videos you would like to put out each week? No, I think yes and no. I mean, I think I try to stick to a minimum of 2 each week. I think this week I'll probably have 4 because I threw in this live as a bonus, but most weeks these days I'm doing about 3, and I can't really imagine doing any more than that. It is time consuming, and it's also really hard to think of new content. So you can replicate things because someone who maybe finds your channel today isn't going to go back and watch every single video that you have, but I think content creation, and sorry, now I just put up the screen of me and now I'm just distracted, but you know, it's just, that's how it is. But yeah, I think 2 to 3 is my goal, and people who do more, I don't know how they do more and resell full time. It's mind blowing. So it looks like everyone's chatting with everyone in the comments, which is awesome. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, I don't know how long you guys want to stay. My lighting is getting definitely darker, but I'm so excited everyone's here. Heather Eubanks, you're going full time. Friday's your last day of work. That's so scary, but you're ready. And next is YouTube. Well, hopefully this video, if you didn't catch everything, hopefully you can rewatch it and hopefully it's helpful. It is far more scary in the beginning, and even just a live. I've never done a live because I have a hard time watching them after the fact. I've refilmed videos because I just didn't like how they came out, and live is just, I mean, it's out there. So I'm glad I'm getting this out of the way and kind of getting this experience, and I'm glad that you guys are here, but it's a constant journey, at least for me. When is the next haul? So one of the things I realized with YouTube also was I was getting home with a haul and I would film the video and I would, not have anything listed, not have anything done, and I would put out the video and all of a sudden people would ask about certain things, and it was kind of hard. So now I'm kind of usually 2 to 3 hauls behind. So for example, I have 2 piles in my guest room right now that are just waiting to be filmed, and so I think it's helpful for me so that I can get things listed and everything like that. But yeah. All right, so I hope if I missed any questions, I do apologize. I'm definitely trying to catch up. What is the most viewed video topic-wise to date, or one that you had the most success with? So there was a video series that I tested out called Bins versus Stores, and I searched on YouTube in like all different ways. Does anyone have anything like this? And no one did, and I was so excited. I was thinking, okay, this is something original, this is something unique. And I did a number of them, and they actually had some pretty great, I think one of them is my top viewed video, 30 something thousand, which is just crazy. But I really liked them. I thought they were helpful. I do have Goodwills and bins near in LA, which is a couple hours from me. But then people started replicating it. And I saw a designer one time say that really high-end designers, to stay ahead and to stay unique, when someone starts copying them, they need to drop that and move on. And so I haven't done one of those in a while because people started copying them, and I don't know, I lost the interest. But that happens, and it's flattering when people like an idea and replicate it. So does being live feel different than you expected? This is by Amber. I remember the room feeling extremely quiet the first time I went live. My dog just barked. I put her in the room with a bone because I didn't want her just going crazy on this video. So she's not a fan of it. But yeah, I think I've done lives on Instagram. If you're not following me there, I'm just COMMONTAGS there. I've done them on the Insta stories, but it's definitely a little different on YouTube because it's going to stick around. So thank you so much, Kathy Gill. I'm glad you learned something. I'm glad me sharing is helpful. It means a lot. Question by Kelly Hurst. When do you go to the bins by yourself? How do you keep yourself from buying too much stuff? It is so hard to pass up stuff that goes to landfill. Absolutely. Also, shout out to Dizzy Angie. I didn't know you were in the chat, but hello. Check out her channel if you haven't already. She's definitely a lot of fun. So it is, I go to the bins by myself, not that often. Most of the time I go with my mom. If she can't go, I'll usually send a message to someone I already know I've met in reselling and see if they maybe want to meet up. But I haven't been going to the bins as often, and there's two reasons for that. I'm further away. I'm about 2 hours away from the bins, so it's just a long day. But I have some Goodwills that have dollar days that are about an hour away, and I've just been having a lot of success with that. I did go to the bins last week, and just to shout out Posh Boss Blake, he has a new channel, but I watched a lot of his videos. And that's the thing about YouTube is they'll recommend your video to the most random people. And sometimes I just click on it. It's how I found Lori when she was new on YouTube. So Posh Boss Blake, I watched a number of his videos, and I was, you could call it a fan. And he had an Insta story live, and he said something about Goodwill prices, and I said, well, you should go to the bins. He said, oh, I had a bad experience, like it was just overwhelming. So I sent him a message. I said, hey, I'm going to meet a friend this day. You should join. And he joined, and we had so much fun, and he found some great stuff. His haul, he found way better stuff than I did. But yeah, it was, I think that the bins can definitely be better if you go with someone else, just because you have someone to go back to. And I'm sure some other people in the chat would probably agree. Stephanie Tipple, because of you, I'm going with a fellow posher to the bins for the first time next weekend. That is amazing. When I was at the bins this last time, I met a lot of new people who came up and said hello and watched these videos, which also makes it a little hard to source there these days. But a couple of them said that the only reason they went to the bins was because they watched some of the videos, which, you know, I have a video that says, like, don't be scared of the Goodwill bins, because I felt like there was a lot of fear around the bins, at least when I was new. And yeah, you could have a bad experience anywhere, but I think the bins can be really great if you give it a fair chance. And by me, it usually takes about 3 to 4 times at a location before I find the benefit of it. Yeah, going with a friend, sell quick ship, just confirmed. Going with a friend is definitely really important, I think. Jennifer, is it Capias? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. You love the bins. You can't even shop at Target anymore. I know. I say this to my family all the time. To go into a regular retail store and to pay full price for anything as a reseller it's terrible. It's so hard. But it does put things in perspective. The other thing it puts in perspective for me is the resale value of certain things is not all that great. So I mean, some people already know that, but when I see something in a store and I'm like, wow, they want $60 for this, but I can't get $10 for this resold, it's just interesting to kind of keep an eye on that stuff. Wendy Richardson, hello from Wilmington, North Carolina. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support and being here on this live. Glenda loves 28 reseller. As a reseller, you know, time is money. So if I'm going to invest my time on YouTube videos, it's my go-to girls. I learned so much from you. That's sweet. Thank you so much. Also, I forgot to shout out, I think I got a super chat, and I think it was from Coal City Loot. And I think I saw it pop up when I was trying to stay focused. So girl, you did not have to do that, but that was so nice of you. So I do appreciate it. And if anyone else, I'm sorry, it's not popping up right now, and this is all new to me, it's the live world. So yeah. Virtual assistant questions. So have you been able to quantify an increase in sales that covers the cost? So yes, I try not to talk too much about the virtual assistant stuff just because I get a lot of questions, because just finding one, Denali El Ducho has a really great video on how to find one using Upwork. But yes, I think even recently, I just started paying someone to do some of my packaging, and I can already see my time is better spent photographing and listing than it is worrying about packaging up my stuff, which was just kind of my death pile was after the photos. So Stephanie Purdue, you don't have bins, but you have a store that does 25-cent days. Wow, that is amazing. I've never heard of that, so that's amazing. But yeah, I think if you don't have bins, which is also common, I get a lot, if you don't have bins near you, there are other options. And I think it's just exploring and also following other thrift stores on social media is really beneficial. That's one thing, even those like the mom and pops, if they have a social media, because sometimes they just have these random sales and they don't say it, but they'll post it on their social media. So it's really helpful there. Rosemary Basma, do you see yourself sticking primarily with clothing? So I've really branched out a lot more into hard goods. Actually, I had my best sale a couple days ago with I don't even know what it was. It was like it was Monster Power was the brand, and it was new open box in the bins, and I grabbed it, and it ended up weighing, it cost me $13 as far as weight. And it ended up selling for $210 plus they paid shipping. So that was my best flip yet. I think clothing is easy to store. Clothing is easy for me now because I'm familiar with brands and I know how to look brands up. And I also sell on Poshmark where it does pretty well, but I really like hard goods. And I just like the fact that, you know, you can kind of do what you want, pick up what you want. And the bins is also great for that. Do you feel like, this is from Sunny Purdon, do you feel like there are things, brands, etc. in California that you don't find in the rest of the country? I don't know. I am not one to travel and thrift, I think is what people call it. Although I do know a number of people that do that. But yeah, I've never really, reselling has only been in really LA area or my very small town, which I don't really source in. But yeah, LA or being near a big city, I don't know who spends what kind of money on the brands that they do, but there is an advantage of being driving distance to a big city. I did move here from San Francisco, but I wasn't a reseller then, and I get questions about what are the best thrift places there, and I just did it for myself and my own home. But let's see, Kelly Hurst, have you seen a change to sell through from dollar days versus bins? That's a good question. So no, I mean, I think I see certain things selling very quickly that I would expect just because of the sell-through rate. If you are on eBay and you aren't using an app called Completely, if you just type Completely in the App Store, I think it's only iOS. I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I think I've heard a number of people say that. But that's what I use to look up comps on eBay, and it will tell you the sell-through rate, so how many are available versus how many have sold in the last 90 days. And that is really helpful information. But so I know, like, if I source at the bins or the thrift stores, the bins in LA actually get raw donations. And so there's things that don't even go through the cycle of thrift stores. And you can usually tell because they have a tag or don't have a tag. So I feel pretty lucky that I have decent thrift stores within an hour drive, and then the Goodwill bins, which is about a 2-hour drive. Let's see. Glenda loves 28 reseller. It was so great to meet you at the bins. By the way, it's like 85 degrees all day today, and then my house is all windows, and so it's just warm in here. So if I'm a little dewy, it's just what you get with a live. But I have all my doors open, but no breeze. So Glenda loves 28 reseller. It was nice to meet you at the bins. It was so great to meet you. I was so overwhelmed this last trip. I've met people who have come up in previous bins trips, but this was the first time where I was a little taken back by how many people stopped to say hello. I mean, the bins is just a room full of mostly resellers, so it makes sense that people potentially would watch my videos or have seen my videos. But I appreciate all of the hellos. And if ever see me out, say hello. I'm usually trying to focus, but that day I wasn't as focused, but it was a lot of fun. I'm hoping to go to Glendale every 2 to 3 months just to interact with people and meet people and chat with people. So yeah. Jenemy, hello, hello. You also have an amazing YouTube channel. I will tell you something about Jenemy. So Jenemy, when I first started my YouTube channel, which this is a topic around YouTube, getting shout outs from other people. So I did not have a large Instagram following when I started YouTube. I only had about 300 people following me on Instagram when I started my YouTube channel. And Jenemy, I had seen a couple of her videos before I started YouTube. But when I was new at YouTube, she gave me a shout out in her Insta story and said, I just discovered this channel. And I probably had like 100 subscribers at that point. And it meant so much to me that she found me and also just gave me that little shout out. I think there are different ways to grow your YouTube channel. If you have a large following on one, it doesn't mean it's going to translate to the other, but it could help. And then shout outs from bigger resellers. I don't know how you get access to those shout outs, but I haven't gotten too many. I have met people that are, like at eBay Open, I met some very large YouTube resellers, like have larger followings, who said that they had seen some of my videos and that was really meaningful, but it didn't really help my growth because I didn't really get any. But Jenemy, thank you for that early shout out. You gave me a boost in confidence. So the veranda files, you need to find a photographer. Me and you both. I think packaging for me was where a lot of things went to die because I already got the workout. I could list and then I would fold them and put them in a bin, but then it wasn't in my inventory system, and so it was really hard. So I'm trying to get that moved out of my workflow and outsourced to a local person in my community. Photography is hard for me because they would have to come to my home, and I live in a very remote area, so it wouldn't be convenient for most people. But never say never. I think at some point I would love to scale and grow, and a photographer would be very helpful. New to you, Steals and Specialties. I feel like I've seen your name very early on. I could be wrong, but I feel like you started following very early on, and I appreciate all of your comments and support. Has anyone at the bins ever offered to buy something from you before you checked out? Not sure of the reseller protocol. No, except I've gone and offered things to other people. So at one of the bins locations that I have gone to a number of times, there's a group of guys, the t-shirt guys, the t-shirt resellers. They look for vintage tees, and they're really nice to my mom and I, and they've always been very nice. We usually park our cart near them, and they're just funny. I mean, they're using curse words every 2 seconds, and I just think it's funny that my mom's standing there because that's not something I ever do in my household with her. But they are very respectful to us, and so every once in a while we'll find a vintage tee or something and we'll just go and like offer it up to them. I do know I've heard other people say that they have purchased things at the bins, so I know it happens. I've never had it happen to me. So Aaron Covey, I think that's how you say it. Thanks for the discount code on Authenticate. Now I used it to authenticate a product. It was real. Awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, Authenticate first. I've mentioned them before. I was told, they were referred to me by someone in a nearby city that used them for business purposes to authenticate things. There are other services out there, but those services seem a bit too big, and that they're growing too big, and they're focused too much on the platforms. So I don't feel as confident with them. Not to say they're bad. It's just Authenticate First has a very clunky system. It's not the easiest, but they're a very small team in San Diego, and they're very passionate. And I don't think they're really trying to scale too much. They're just, for me, they've been very impressive with just their passion and what they're wanting to do. Sunny Purdon, how are you good about listing right away, or do you have a death pile? Do you cross post everything, or do you put some only on eBay versus Posh? I have a death pile, if you want to call it. I have a pile of stuff almost at all times to list, and there's 2 reasons. I'm an hour away from any Goodwill, Salvation Army, regular thrift store, so it's not easy for me to source. And so if something were to happen in a week and I wasn't able to go sourcing one day out of the week, I wouldn't have stuff to list, and I just want to keep listing. So I have a little bin in my storage unit of stuff I'm not super excited about, but I purchased at the bins, and I'm like, I can list you if I'm really desperate. And then I also usually have a rotation of things for videos. So right now I've got 2 hauls of stuff that I'm currently taking photos of before I do the videos and get those up. Vahan, Baltion. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm butchering any names. How are the garage sales in your area? They're not great. I mean, I live in a really small community of about 3,000 people. The closest city to me is Tehachapi, which is where my P.O. box is and where I do all my shipping. It's about 30 minutes away. And that's only about, I think, like 15, 20,000. I think the whole greater area that I live in is like 30,000 people. So it's just very spread out. And it's just a lot of people have acreage and farms and, you know, mountain areas. So it's hard for me to do garage sales, but I do it just sometimes with friends for fun. And I did one reseller swap box with Amber, and that was torture for me. But Wendy Richardson, how do you pay eBay to promote your listings? I'm trying to promote my listing with 1%, but I haven't noticed any more sales. Oh, do I? I have not tested out promoted listings. However, when I was at eBay Open, that was something they talked about. I asked questions about. I come from, I did marketing before this, and so I think promotion is great. However, I just want to be able to test it at the right time where I can really focus on that, and I just haven't had that time quite yet. But I can't imagine pushing it up to the top of the search isn't going to help increase sales. And I think, and I could be wrong, it will tell you if it's sold from a promoted listing, or if it doesn't, it will, is what I learned at eBay Open, which will be really helpful to see if it was worth it. Teresa Bryant, hello from Mississippi, like both of your channels, really like your beautiful dog. She's in my bedroom right now, not happy, even though I gave her a bone, just so I could stay focused on this. But she's a little rescue dog. I will put up a video on my second channel about my story getting Luna, and she probably won't cooperate and be in it. I mean, she'll be in it, but she'll probably run away. But yeah, she's a great dog. She's a great friend to have here. And if you go to my other channel, I live in a remote area. I do have friends. I love my life here. And I just love I love the big cities, and I love being in the middle of nowhere. I kind of like the two extremes. That's just my personality. So, but thank you. Luna appreciates the compliment. Jenemy, I skipped your comment. Can you give us an update on the antique store? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I am currently pricing things, and I'm hoping to get some things into the antique store this coming weekend. They didn't have a full space available, so I have a bookshelf that I'm starting with and a wall that I'm starting with, and hopefully I'll be able to upgrade to a space if it works out for me. But we do have a couple antique stores in Tehachapi, and I'm just excited to try something different. I also just like picking up cute stuff that maybe won't sell online, but I will do an update on that as soon as I have one. But pricing and all of that stuff, but I have my spaces, that's good. Bluegrass pickers. Do you sell in antique malls or flea markets? We were just talking about that, but yes, I'm starting an antique booth. My mom, who just retired, is also starting an antique booth in her city. She's about an hour away from me. And yeah, it's just fun to pick up things at the bins that might not have a lot of value, or you don't even have to worry about the value. You could just pick it up and it can either sell online or sell in the booth. So flea markets I don't do. I think there are some in LA, but I haven't explored it and it's a little far for me. So Steeped Tea, Sarah Vega, how often do you clean out your closet inventory of items that haven't sold? So I am just past a year. So I started part-time July 1st of 2018. So I'm a little over a year reselling in general. And I'm just now starting to, okay, I'm gonna go through some of the bins one at a time and just, is there something I just don't think is worth it? That's the thing right now. I'm not really worried about my average sale price because I think I'm trying to clear out a lot of old stuff. And so if I sell something for $9, but it's been sitting for a year, hey, I'd like to make my money back. Like, that's okay for me. But it just brings down my average sale price. So right now what I'm focusing on, if I can sell any of the older items, I'm not really, I want in the long term to worry about my average sale price. But right now I bought a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have just to learn how to resell. And I think that that's okay. But I will start pulling some stuff out of my store and my closet just to free up space and just kind of move on. All right, so it looks like there's several viewers that live in Maine, and you should all meet up at the bins. That's what I'm seeing. So yeah, that's the great thing. If you live in the Los Angeles area, I have a Facebook group. If you just search groups Los Angeles resellers, it should pop up. I think there's details in the comments or in my little description below, but we've got about 100 people in the greater Los Angeles area that are part of it. And I met actually some people from that group at the bins last week. But I think one of the hardest things about being on YouTube, and I didn't reference this for me now, is that you get a lot of requests from people who want to source with you, who want to meet up with you. And it's hard. I'm not sourcing all that much, and I don't actually live too close to anything. So by creating a channel of resellers in kind of Southern California that could potentially meet, a number of them have, and it just means a lot to me that other people might not be scared to try the bins if they have someone else to go with. So Mary, is it Neubauer? I'm so bad at names. You ordered shoes for me in the spring and they're your favorites. Wear them every day. That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I don't know everyone that purchases anything from me. Again, I don't do direct sales personally, but that would be easier to track. So, and we're coming. I still have some lighting. Again, my apologies for the lighting. The sun is going down right over there, but I'm probably gonna get to a few more questions and then we're gonna try and end this at a reasonable time. Laura, can you share your favorite thing about reselling, your least favorite thing, and maybe a couple of goals you'd like to reach before year end? My favorite thing about reselling is the community. I'm just so blown away by how many nice people there are. There are way more nice people than like not so nice people. So, and just the just talking to people in comments, being able to learn by people asking questions in comments. And so the community is amazing. The flexibility is really great, but it also means you have to have self-discipline to get the work done. So for me, it's that's kind of a hit or miss thing. Yeah, my least favorite thing is probably the starting of things, or comparing to other people. So I can't compare myself to someone who's been reselling for 5 years. It's not fair to myself. It's not fair to them. Just like someone who's just started reselling a month ago should definitely not compare themselves to me. We're all kind of at different stages and we all have different goals and different help. I mean, I purchase mostly things at Dollar Days and Goodwill bins. So I can sell things for a little cheaper. I can pick certain things up, and I'm pretty transparent about what I sell, but there might be people posting package piles and things that it gives a distorted view. And I think the comparison can be really hard at times, but the community is great. If you let it be great, I guess is the way to put it. A couple goals that I'd like to reach before year end. I mean, I'm paying my bills right now, but I'd like to get to a place by year end where I'm putting more into my savings and 401k, because no one's doing that for me now. And that's incredibly important, to have a little bit of cushion and also be saving for my retirement. Lori, you asked, do I have a max number of items you'd like to have in your inventory? Mine keeps saying, so I recently just got under 1,000, and that's because I'm trying to sell through some of the older stuff. And so I'm actually trying to aim for about 800 as far as clothing items, and then hard goods I'm picking up more and more. So I have space in my shed for probably about 12 to 1,500 items. And then I take photos and stuff in my loft. So, and if I get help at some point, which I wouldn't be opposed to, maybe getting a space and getting part-time employees and whatnot, I could go, shoot for the moon, which I'm not afraid of, and it's not out of reach, just maybe not right now. Bamboo Spine Girl, off topic. I love your house. The color you chose is so beautiful. Thank you. I love this house. The color turned out great. She's referring to my second channel. I just got the outside painted and it was all very stressful for me, but that's just part of life, I guess, or being a new homeowner. Steeped Tea, Sarah Vega. Can you do a video of what sells better for you on eBay versus Poshmark, or give a quick review? I cross-list everything to both platforms. So I've sold Free People and Anthropology on eBay, and I've sold Cold Water Creek and Chico's on Poshmark. So I don't really want to put thought into what does better where. I just find it easier just to cross-list everything. There are people that do select based off of their own sales. I haven't analyzed that data yet, but if I do, I'll share for sure. Anne Eckhart, you just popped in. Hello, hello. And you're gonna watch from the beginning later. Thank you. That means a lot. So I'm just gonna wrap this up. If you do have any questions and I wasn't able to answer it or I missed it, I do apologize. Leave them in the comments below. I do try to answer all questions there. And again, there's 143 people watching, which is just amazing. I really do appreciate all the support. Maybe I'll try and do better lighting for the next live. I'll probably do these every 3 to 6 months just to keep things interesting, and hopefully I'm glad everything worked out. Yeah, so definitely hit the thumbs up. That just helps with the YouTube algorithm. And hopefully if you start a YouTube channel, hopefully some of the stuff I shared was helpful. That's the goal of this channel. So yeah, I don't know how to turn this off, but we'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye guys.